Hey Ricky, and welcome to the Al Black Show. How you doing?
Good, you?
Man, very well, mate, very well. You've already, it's only, 10:30 in the morning on a Saturday. You've already had a busy day.
Yeah. Just doing some cocktail research and recipes and bits and pieces. I've got a little hens night I've got to look after this evening. So.
Oh, sweet. Where's that?
In Belden.
Right.
Belden,
So you're
Australia.
You are at the hens night, are you?
Yes.
Right.
Teaching cocktails.
Are you scared? These girls, when they get a few drinks in them.
Maybe just a little bit, just a tiny bit.
Cool. So, cocktail research. So, what were you doing? Like trying them out this morning, or just more?
No, the boring stuff. The boring stuff. Just finding out who created what cocktail and when, and the origins of, and the original recipes and ingredients and stuff like that. So.
Right. So you're actually going to be talking to them about the.
Correct.
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 So it's not just about getting shit faced.
Well,
that's
we
part.
all start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, the finer arts and the reasons behind why bartenders do things a certain way, and how things work together, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and.
Cool. Have you got any particular favourites? This isn't actually how I was planning on kicking off the show, but this is great. Yeah.
Do I have favourites? Big tequila fan. So love margaritas.
Right, I'm also a fan.
Different styles, different types.
Yeah.
Negronis, loving a good Negroni. Different styles, different types. There's a beverage for every occasion, really.
Yeah, right. I think my first sort of main cocktail experience was up at Falls Creek, and I think every Thursday at the Falls Creek Motel, it was Harvey Wallbanger afternoon, and just everyone used to get down there, and it was a big session on the Harvey Wallbangers, and they were, not bad after a day on the slopes. So a lot of fun. Okay,
we're here for an interview.
Not chat about booze. Well, chatting about booze is part of the interview.
Yeah,
now, even though I can't really detect the accent, I believe you are originally from South Africa.
Sure am.
Yep.
So we got here February 2002, so the 2nd of February 2002, so nice easy date to remember.
Yeah, well, I was the 1st of June 1990. It's funny how those ones just lock in your head.
That's it, it's an important day. It was the start of a new life.
Totally. Like, how did you find growing up in South Africa? Pretty wild?
It's a different place. Different hardships, different positives, different negatives.
So you went to school there, obviously?
Went to school there. Got my first hospitality job there, although it was short-lived. It was interesting. South Africa is a beautiful place.
Sure, yeah.
It was obviously coming out of apartheid at the time. So,
what year was it? Sorry.
When we left?
When
we left, 2002.
Right.
But I grew up through the transition. So I was born 1985.
Yep.
So just on the cusp of everything starting to really happen.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Definitely a lot's changed back home as well. But we definitely moved here for the better, and it's allowed me to make a lot of mistakes and have a bit of fun.
Yeah, right.
So, very lucky. My parents made the decision to move to Australia.
Yeah, right. And why WA? Like, were you looking at other states, or? There's a lot of South Africans in WA. Maybe that was the reason.
Yeah, you can't go down the street without hitting one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Don't know.
Right.
I'll leave that question to the parents. But
maybe it's the sunshine, because South Africa's a pretty sunny place, and WA is
very similar climate. Yeah, Perth's got a very similar climate to South Africa. I think we're on the same sort of latitudinal line. So.
Yeah, right. So you're on tenterhooks tonight. You're going to be watching the game, or are you doing the cocktail thing? Or?
I will be, checking.
Yeah, right. Doing a bit of that one.
Score under the table. Absolutely. Of course, the Springboks are going to win.
Yeah, cool. Of course. Anyone that beats the Poms is a friend of mine. So right.
Fair enough.
And how did you find that transition, like going from South Africa to WA? Because they're completely different cultures.
Are you talking about rugby, or are you talking?
Did you used to play? Did you? Or
no. I was a swimmer and a hockey goalkeeper in high school. Grass hockey. Yeah. Which seemed like a good idea at the time.
What part did you think was going to be great? Just getting hit in the face by a really fast, hard ball?
Just being being stationary for a long time.
I can see where you're going.
But what they don't tell you with hockey goalkeepers is you got to attend normal training.
Right. Okay.
And then you got to attend extra training for being a goalie. And of course, when you're doing laps, you're doing it in your gear.
Fun.
So let's just say that gym bag didn't smell that great.
No. And it's a bit tough on your knees. Is that right?
Tough on your knees. Yeah. Definitely tough on your knees, tough on the body.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good fun. You know, take a few knocks to the head.
Yeah. So that's what happened to you, right?
That explains everything. A lot now.
Yeah. So you get over here, and you're doing sort of business subjects at school. I'm guessing because you ended up at Curtin doing an accounting degree.
Yeah. Look, so came from a very serious government school in South Africa called Queen's High School.
Right.
You know, button blazer, shirt tucked in, tie.
Yeah. What city?
Johannesburg.
Right. Yeah.
Johannesburg. Came from that to Churchlands High here, which was polo tops and black pants, which is kind of cool.
It's the WA way.
It's the WA way, and why not with all the sunshine and happiness.
Exactly.
So yeah, I went to Curtin, did a commerce degree. It seemed natural at the time. When you're young, you have no idea what you're going to do.
No.
You have no idea. I mean, looking back and speaking to people now, I should have taken a gap year.
Yeah, right.
Figured myself out.
Yeah.
But traditional Greek family. Finish school, into university, get a job. Make babies, all the rest of it.
Yeah. Drink lots of ouzel.
Didn't drink a lot. I was that one kid that always took the math or accounting prize away from the Duck Scholar. Right, okay. So, that really smart kid.
I wasn't that kid.
No, I wasn't that kid either, but I was that little thorn in that side throughout high school. And even primary school. I've got the trophies at home.
Yeah. You still got them there in pride of place?
My mum and dad got replicas made for me so I could always remember.
Yeah.
Always that thorn in the side, coming out of high school, looking at what to do. I figured, I'm good at this and this and this.
Yeah.
Commerce seemed like a good fit.
Yeah, and it's nice in general too, a commerce degree, I think.
It's a great foundation for anything.
But you specialised in accounting and finance, did you?
Finance. Yeah. Accounting, finance, Curtin University, graduated 2006.
Yeah.
So finished up my last subject in 05.
Yeah.
And
And then you did the chartered accounting.
Yeah, that was murder.
Yeah, right. So I bet. It doesn't sound like fun.
It really is a program designed for the elite.
Right.
And that's later on in my career, I actually went on to be a part of that program and teach a little bit and impart some knowledge on some.
Where was that? What, that Curtin as well?
No, that was through the institute.
Right. Okay.
That was murder. You're working as an accountant. I think my starting salary was like below minimum wage.
Yeah, right.
Probably was minimum wage at the time. 50 cents a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And you work exuberant amount of hours, and then you're forced to go through this program. Well, you're not forced, but it
strongly suggested.
It is the way. You're forced to go to do this program, and it is tough.
Yeah.
It's super tough. I failed my first exam. I got 49%. And that's where it sort of really hit me, this is some hardcore stuff. So I sat this up and got through. One of the accounting partners sat me down and go, Ricky, is this really for you? You seem like a smart guy.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe I just didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So I struggled a little bit with the exam in that case.
Yeah.
Just didn't know how to answer the question. So got around it.
I find that's quite important in exams, not knowing how to answer the questions, because if you don't,
it's delivery. It's always delivery in that sense, and that's adapting to different markers and stuff like that.
Sure.
Kind of the way of the land.
Yeah.
Did commerce, did accounting, and then fell out of it. Woke up.
That's the bit I want to talk about.
I fell out of it.
So how do you go from mild-mannered accountant to landing in the Perth nightclub industry? What happened? What went wrong?
Okay, so it actually started it all happened in sync.
Okay.
So one didn't end and one didn't start. It was kind of always happening at the same time.
Bit of an overlap.
There was a bit of an overlap. So, on top of, being an accountant, working 80 hours a week plus whatever, doing my chartered accountancy, I always did a bit of bar work and stuff like that. So it actually all began one Thursday afternoon. I actually remember the day. That's sort of when my hospitality career started. I was working at an auntie's news agency in Mirrabooka.
Okay, yeah.
Thursday, Centrelink Day. And I was just reading the newspaper on my lunch break.
Yeah.
I had my I had my little sandwiches and a little yogurt, and I was reading the paper and just got to the back and for some reason found myself in the job section. Just cover to cover, and there was just this tiny little free cocktail course in there. Come down to Metropolis Fremantle, Thursday the X, I can't remember the exact date. I was oh, crap, that's tonight. So I read this, I was like, free cocktail course, got nothing to lose. Yeah.
It was either that or the free nude modelling course that you had next to that one. Yeah, give that one a miss.
Gave that one a miss, so nude modelling wasn't where I started.
I don't think they were after you anyway.
No, I was a bit skinnier back then.
Yeah.
And look, I asked the boss if I could leave early. The rush sort of finished, and drove down to just around the corner. So, we're at the Aardvark in Norfolk today, which is really cool, underground.
Yeah, under the Norfolk.
Yep, the Norfolk, sorry. Mm-hmm. And, hurried down during peak hour traffic, just made it about 5 minutes late. I hate being late, but made it 5 minutes late.
You were very early for this today.
I was very early for this
today. Full points.
So learned my lesson. And... went through it. It was 3 weeks. I got to meet the owners at the time of Metropolis Fremantle.
Was that the Damaffreys back then, or were they
Madaffreys?
Madaffreys.
And look, they this was in the middle of boom times, right?
Yeah.
So everybody was working off in the mines. Finding hospitality staff was hard work, and in order to encourage, I suppose, active recruitment, you'd have to run certain programs like this, entice people in, bait them in.
Right.
Got my little certificate at the end of it.
So that's why they were doing it, just to try and get staff.
Get staff at the time, and it worked.
Yeah.
They got staff out of it. I begged and pleaded for a job there because it took me for the tour, and I was in awe of this heritage listed building that,
it's a great venue,
awesome look, awesome sound. I was just like, wow, I got to work here. It sounds so cool, feels good, everything felt good. So I begged them for a job, and they gave me a glassy job.
As they do, yeah.
So I started from the bottom, and now we're here.
So what year is that, 2004 or something?
That was November 2004.
Right, yeah.
November 2004.
Mm-hmm.
So started December 2004. And just worked as a glassy for a year and kind of etched my way up, glassy, area glassy, head glassy, bar manager.
I didn't know they had so many stages of glassies.
Well, 50 employees,
Yeah, right. It's a big venue.
It's a big venue.
Yeah,
1, 2, 3, 8 bars, 5 chambers.
21 tills at the last count.
Yeah, look, and then there was security on top of that. There was about 23 security guards and then management. Big operation. As you can understand, I was in awe of this. 18-year-old kid, almost turning 19, and I was just like, this is cool. Yeah. This is cool, There I am. And this was back in the day when you could smoke. It was like, always came home smelling like cigarettes.
Yeah.
Constantly drenched. I was,
and loving it.
And loving it. Cleaning ashtrays and glasses and carrying cartons on my shoulder. It got better and better. And my mind actually helped create lots of efficiencies. Mm-hmm. Quite easily. Was doing the job of 2 or 3. Finding efficiencies here and there, making things easier, service faster and stuff like that. So I worked my way up the ranks, got myself up to bar manager, and then fell in love with a young girl, a young bartender there. And
done that before.
And she encouraged me to get out of that and just to focus on accounting for a while. Yeah.
So was that PKF, Chartered Accountants? Is that when you went?
No. This was later in the stage. So I worked through PKF.
Yeah.
We disbanded in 2010. Half of us went to Deloitte, so the audit team went to Deloitte, and then the rest of the services went to BDO.
Yeah.
So did my chartered accountancy and everything through PKF.
Yeah.
And did a year or so in Deloitte, and then we're...
Quick segue, how did you find working at somewhere like Deloitte?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. It really sort of opened my eyes. Those sort of larger firms are just machines. You know. I was pigeonholed. You know, there's a lot of work, and you got to do a lot of one or two things.
Yeah.
Being in such a large organisation.
What did they put you into?
We were still looking after our clients.
Right. Okay.
So the clients came across with us. The majority of our clients came across with us when PKF disbanded.
Yeah.
So predominantly looking after that, and then sort of slowly getting a little bite of Deloitte clients and stuff like that.
And that was like 2010.
It was 2010. Yeah. We're converting all our old paper files into electronic. And it was just it was hard work at the time. But came from being this all-rounder kind of smallish mid-tier firm that kind of you almost did everything to just doing one part of a job.
And that's what happens when you make those transitions.
But that's what happens when you make those transitions. And, decided one day to move into commerce, as they call it. So move out of public practice into commerce. So being an accountant for a listed company. So it was Ostel Ships.
Oh, yeah.
Down in Henderson. Early waking up hours. I had to be there, pretty early. I think it was about 5 a.m. starts.
Wow. And why so early?
They had a lot of communication between the states and stuff like that. And also, the entire organisation, besides the accounting team, started early.
Yeah.
It was a construction...
So you were just coming straight from the club? Straight.
Not necessarily.
Because you were still at Metro Frio at that
still
stage.
Still at Metro Frio, yeah. So still, it was down in Henderson, so Metro's Frio was only a short ride up the road.
Yeah. So what were you doing at Metro Frio by this stage? Because you've been there like 6 years. Or...
So I was sort of like a supervisor or bar manager. So owners, us, and then the rest of the staff. So kind of in the middle there. Stopped doing that because I was in love and just focused on accounting for about 6 months. Found myself really miserable behind the desk. It wasn't what I enjoyed. And then just handed in the towel and went full
club.
Full club. And had a great time till now.
So that was so 2010. So
2010, consulted to Metro's Frio back because there was another owner that was poaching me to. So the Modafferi sold a few years prior, and there was another owner, David. He was in
David Heaton.
David Heaton at the time. He poached me back.
Okay.
After I left. The Modafferys went off and started a new venue as well. So
and they were up in Darwin.
Up in Darwin, Discovery Darwin. And we bought Amplify Capital at the time. I was offered a shareholding.
Who owned that back then, do you know?
It was Peter Bell and Tony Tricarico.
Oh, right,
we built the business over them.
I think he was involved with the Cheeky Sparrow at one point.
Yeah, they opened a lot of venues together, those two. And
that's another big club, Amplifier Capital.
Another machine, absolute machine. Like these things, they were just awesome. No one shift and no one night was the same. No band was the same. It was incredible the amount of things that used to go on.
They had a rental recently, and I was downstairs in the middle of the week, and there was no one around. I can't remember what I was doing there, and I just got lost. I was just wandering around like backstage, just like where, it's an absolute maze, It's a
maze, These old venues are just incredible.
It's awesome.
The regular guest that comes in just doesn't realise all the labyrinth network around them that's kind of moving parts to get that beer in front of them. Put that band on the stage and where the band comes from and what the band room looks like. It's just it's full on. Where the kegs are, because some of these buildings are quite vertical, so you keep going down and down and down into the keg room and how the kegs get in
the first place,
and stuff like that. And a lot of these old venues don't have lifts.
Right. Sounds like hard work.
So it's quite interesting, and I loved every minute of it. It's hard work. Hospitality's hard work. Don't let anyone lie to you. But you hate it and love it at the same time. And
so you have some funny stories from like from Metro and from Amplifier as well.
There's a few
Capital.
stories in there. Yeah, I mean.
Any that spring to mind?
I did have to throw out a gentleman that didn't have any pants on once.
Right, like none at all.
None at all.
Yeah, right. Okay.
None at all.
He just forgot where he put them, or
I think it was after a football game of sorts because he was wearing just a soccer jersey.
yeah, right. And that's not part of the dress code, I'm guessing.
That's not part of the dress code.
Mind you, there was a club in Melbourne, the Mansion, and on Sundays there's a club night, a very famous club night called Hellfire, and on Sundays there was a guy.
Is this a pantsless thing as well?
Yeah, like the guy. There's an old guy, and he just used to walk around completely starkers, but it was absolutely fine. So
that was okay.
yeah, it was the Hellfire way, like so.
Let's just say that wasn't appropriate.
Yeah. But I mean,
young girls running around, fresh 18.
Yeah, getting more than they bargained for, and not in a good way. But I mean, those sort of venues too. I mean, what do they hold? 2,000, 2,500?
They're about. Let me think. Now you're testing my memory. I think they're about 1,000.
Right.
The renovations to Amplify Capital would have increased that a bit.
Yeah. And I guess where I was going with that is venues of that size get some great touring acts.
Amazing touring
so you must have seen some pearlers in your time.
Oh, fantastic. You know, Sneaky Sound System before they became big, LMFAO before they became big, the presets, Stereophonics, just Eagles of Death Metal, Carnival. Incredible bands.
Yeah.
Illy, just local Australian artists that just made it big. International touring acts. We got to see the Venga Boys.
Yeah, right.
David Hasselhoff.
Yeah. The last couple, you're sort of starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel here. It's like
no, it's just my memory. It's just how my memory works.
Some things are better left buried in the back of your mind. So how was the Hoff?
I've
never seen him live. He's what?
Mate, incredible.
Really?
Yeah. What a show.
Or what a showman.
What a showman. Yeah. Great entertainer.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see those people. You never know what to expect when you book those kind of acts.
Yeah.
I wasn't the booking agent. An amazing man, Jeff Halley, is the booking agent.
Is that Jeff from Monster Management?
Yeah, he books most of West Australians' gigs, and he picks up all these gems, absolute gems, and you never know what the actual act is about sometimes.
Yeah,
and the Hoff actually surprised me. He'd go backstage and then he'd come out with two girls on the side and they're dressed in Baywatch and they sing the Baywatch song, and then he tells a few stories, and it's just awesome. And then they do the Baywatch scene in slow motion, of course.
Yeah. As you do.
Look, it's just incredible.
Well, it was the most watched TV show in the world at the time. So
I think, I remember seeing an interview, and they're like, in the actual way they sort of pieced it together. Oh, we need another extra 5 minutes. Oh, we'll just show a few more slow mo shots, just padding it a little bit.
Go. Well, they had plenty of that. That's for sure. Now, around this time. Something pretty incredible happened, and it was the Cleo Bachelor of the Year contest.
Yeah.
So how did all that come about?
That was a bit of vanity right there.
Yeah.
Kind of wanted to be on the cover of a magazine.
Yeah.
Still want to be on the cover of a magazine one day. Obviously I have to do a hell of a lot more to get on a men's fitness one. So
yes, right.
But I'm
keep on running.
There, yeah, keep running. Keep running, Ricky. So, had a crack. Obviously it's an.
So how did it come about?
The Cleo Bachelor of the Year thing was based on the Eastern Seaboard.
Yeah.
So usually they invite people, Sydney celebrities and Melbourne celebrities, and that kind of eligible bachelors. I thought, no, screw this. They never really go for people in WA.
Yeah.
So there's a wild card system that you got to sort of get yourself voted into and stuff like that. So you submit some photos and you write a few stories and bits and pieces, and you get nominated. So I actually got into the...
What sort of stories? Like stories about yourself? Or
about yourself and, that kind of thing. And
did you find that hard, or does it just come naturally? You were quite happy to...
super critical about myself.
Okay.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. I think everyone usually is. That's why agreeing to this interview was a bit of a task.
Yeah. You were like, oh no, what's going to happen with Al?
Yes, no. I don't know. How am I going to look? Am I going to be pretty enough?
Well, you're in front of me, mate. You're going to be looking fine.
Am I going to answer correctly? It's set in stone. You can't take it back.
There's no wrong answers.
As soon as you put something on the internet, it's there forever.
Yeah.
Google Wiki, and then there's a few good things, and then like a few.
Then there's this.
There's a few average things, and then there's an interview with Al Black.
Absolutely. They're right at the very bottom.
Right at the very bottom. We're not perfect.
So you beat yourself up for it, yeah?
Had a crack, didn't get very far, obviously.
Yeah, right.
Not famous enough. But, keep working on that.
I wonder if anyone from Perth ever got there,
Maybe one or two.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two, but you'd obviously have to go through one of the bigger programs first to get recognised.
To get in there,
be on national television. Usually.
That would help.
That usually helps.
So it was around this time that you were getting into the nutrition business, I believe.
Yes.
2014-ish.
2014-ish. So that came about sort of a little bit of a curveball.
Right. Okay.
This was back when festivals were a big thing. People's, I think Instagram probably started back then, or people were starting to post pictures of themselves. So fitness was key, but also having fun was key, being actively in the social scene. So we had one part of the pie.
Yep.
So we thought we'd give the other side of the pie a bit of a crack, and we started a supplement distribution business or a retail business in a few shopping centres and stuff. Went well initially. Highly competitive market.
So are you getting this stuff from overseas, or how does that work?
Local distributors, they get them from overseas. We buy from the wholesaler distributor and sell to the public. We created a couple as well, a couple that are doing quite well, a couple of brands. We sold those brands off and bits and pieces, and we had a crack. We had a crack. Not every business endeavour goes the way you plan it to. Especially with models like that, you sort of got to sink in a lot of money, and then it's
tiny margins, is it?
Tiny margins.
Because everyone, especially on the line, we
were dealing with shopping centre rents and stuff like that. So you got to. It's an expensive process.
Yeah.
And we actually sort of sat down, and at that time we were at the tail end of the boom. Yeah. Which wasn't helpful. So we decided to call it. We pulled out of that market, which is always a hard pill to swallow. But a decision nonetheless.
Pardon the pun.
No, it's okay. We'll take that one.
Boom, boom. But and it was around that time you were also working with Jeff from Monster Management as well.
We had a lot of things going on. We were building a new bar. We were in nutrition. We were building nutrition brands. We had a lot going on. And the WA market was changing.
And that new bar was Lost Society?
No, you're jumping a little bit ahead.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, it's called Bar de Halcyon. So it's in Wolf Lane. So a little two-story venue in Wolf Lane. So this was at the peak of the small bar scene. So we had a crack. We built this beautiful bar. That was just shortly after that was when I exited that group.
Okay,
and decided to sort of go on my own and do some bits and bobs. So exited that group.
And that's now the Spanish themed.
Now it's called the Spaniard.
The Spaniard. There we go.
These places change names like I change underwear sometimes.
Yeah, right.
Did my own thing. Did a little bit of consulting.
It's a cool little area though. That Wolf Lane stuff. Yeah, we've got Cheeky Sparrow and now I've got a blank. What's the Wolf Lane? What an idiot! Forgot that one. Yeah, right.
Small bars scene. The small bar scene was booming at the time.
There's the underground one as well.
The sewing room. That's new too. That's a year or a couple of years old now. So underneath the chocolate factory. So chocolate factory, light bands. How can you go wrong?
So when's this? So you've left 2000 and
let's go 2013, 14. It was probably about 14, 15, yeah. 14, 15, I went out, had no venues under my belt, did a little bit of consulting, did a bit of accounting again, and then just was helping get a group that was in financial distress and out of trouble, or trying to. You can only do so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Lost Society was one of the assets.
Right.
And the easiest to move on.
And was it called Lost Society at that point? It was called
Lost Society at the time. We'd be operating successfully, and
because it used to be something else. People
it was
used
Box Deli before.
Box Deli
before, and found a couple of buyers for it. Last minute, one of the 50% buyers pulled out, and I filled the slot.
Right.
Naively filled the slot.
Like, here we go. This'll be fun.
This will be fun. Hospitality. And we ran it really well for a couple of years. The economy again turned south.
I take it you were still paying the rent from the boom?
Exactly, the rent was locked in for a long period of time. And the hospitality scene here has since adjusted. Yeah. A lot of people have adjusted. Leases are shorter for independents and that type of stuff. So, things are adjusting. Unfortunately, the rent at the time didn't adjust for that particular thing. So we found a struggle time, and we eventually had to close that one.
Yeah. But I do remember, I'll just jump in, because I was doing that bar tour business for a while, bar hop, number of years, and we obviously used to come to Lost Society, and that's how the two of us met.
That's a few years ago.
Yeah, it was a few years ago now, but
I thought you lost my number.
Yeah, but one of the things that spun me out was it'd be like 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, or maybe even 7.
Oh,
and it was chockers, and it was a really good-looking crowd. And you would never get that. Not that there's anything wrong with Melbourne, but and I think this also goes to show that with the early closing in Perth, like in Melbourne, it just goes all night. But you would never get a venue in Melbourne, or I can't think of any, that it's 7 o'clock, it's wall to wall, and everyone's looking hot.
Looking back on it, because you learn a lot of lessons. In life, and looking back on it, we had an amazing product.
Yeah.
We did a lot of things right. We just had one flaw in our system, and that was the rent in that particular case. We had one flaw in our system, and you know what? When you're that heavily invested emotionally, physically, financially into something that, and you saw it. It was just awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
So was the rent the thorn, or was there something else?
No, the rent was pretty much the
right.
There's a number of other factors, but that was the catalyst for most of it. We had an amazing product.
Yeah.
We were doing almost everything right. No one's perfect. And unfortunately, it was one of the toughest decisions of my life. Yeah. Because I loved it. Yeah. I loved it with a passion.
And obviously around this time, there's so many new bars coming online, and people see the shiny, bright object, and they were having a great time here, but then they move over there and pop-up bars. And
some people think Perth is LA. It's almost becoming that way.
Yeah, it's pretty full on.
It's pretty full on. Yeah, it's become a fashion industry now. Yeah. There's a number of factors behind that. Instagram, requirements, the newest, craziest, prettiest thing in the background, and et cetera, that can work for you or against you, depending on your venue. And
it's almost like when you're building a venue now, you're like, what's Instagrammable?
And you laugh.
Yeah.
You laugh.
There's probably interior designers out there that specialize in Instagram.
It's just like that's people that have got neon signs now, they're just milking people. All these super cool quotes that that everybody needs in their back of their Instagram. Yeah. They're just and neon signs are cost a fortune. Jeez.
Yeah, right.
Look, we pulled the pin on that, and then I actually fell into wholesale and distribution, which is, I suppose, the next step for an aging hospitality person like myself.
Yeah. So is this NBS Eatery, or is that something different?
No, that was also we had a crack at NBS Eatery, so that was no bullshit eatery.
Oh, right, okay.
that was what the acronym was. And that was so Lost Society had a kitchen.
Right.
During the day, didn't really do too much. During the night, it serviced its customers. So we figured, I'm always been into the gym and eating as healthily as possible to balance out the alcohol, of course.
I do this very similar. Yeah.
There's a lot of us in the industry that do that. Good and bad.
Yeah, work hard, play hard.
Work hard, play hard is the term. And essentially, I was getting the chef to make me little simple meals. A little bit of greens, a little bit of carbs, a little bit of protein, and we just decided to create an online store, and it was doing pretty well. We had quite a few customers, grabbing a lot of food, so a lot of chicken and rice, a lot of fish and rice, a lot of meat and rice. And some vegetarian things and bits and pieces, and we ran that for a little while.
So people would order online and it would get delivered to their house, or is that?
No, they come pick it up.
Oh, right, yeah, cool. Yeah.
So we used that model instead because we were a CBD venue. People could just get it on the way home.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
so
perfect.
Lots of people used to do that.
Cool.
And it worked out for a little while.
Fast and fresh.
Yeah. Simple.
Yeah.
That was super simple.
Yeah.
And chicken and rice is like is the thing for bodybuilders. That's
of course.
Staple.
Yeah. And so what happened there? Was it because the venue went?
The venue went, so we lost the commercial kitchen, and that one had to go by the wayside.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. But since then, I've done a lot of work in different venues.
Sorry, you were talking about the distribution before. What were you distributing?
So still in it. So state sales manager for a wholesale company, beer, wine, spirits, non-alcoholic spirits, which are in fashion at the moment. These millennials these days, bitters, tonics, all that type of stuff. So
actually, I'm going to get to that in a minute. Sorry to cut you off, because I know there's a bunch of there are a number of roles you've done since then in that kind of field.
Heaps.
But before we get there was one more venue I just wanted to cover, because it's a pretty interesting story. Voyeur Bar.
Yeah.
So, just tell us how it came about, basically. I was going to say this, because there was a number of high-profile personalities that were involved in it, but you give me your story first.
Absolutely. It was Llama Bar.
Yes, in Subiaco.
So Subiaco was on the tail end of the football stadium activities, moving to the new stadium. Mm-hmm. So that district was interesting. Let's just put it that way. And so were you looking at that? I mean, obviously you knew the stadium was closing. So was that reflected in the rent? We knew the stadium was closing. No. Again. Again.
Yeah, right. So you still wanted top dollar for the rent.
Still on top dollar rent. We took a gamble. We had a crack. We probably did it about 4 years too early.
Right.
Because I'm noticing personally a resurgence in that area.
That was one of my questions about Subiaco. Actually, anyway,
I'm starting to notice a resurgence now. But business is a gamble.
Yeah.
And we redeveloped it into a fringe festival style venue with acrobats and acts and stuff like that. That was a lot of different change for me as well. Dealing with sort of those styles of entertainers and performers and stuff like that, and in a bar environment was kind of interesting.
But how did it come about? Like, who called who?
It was for sale.
Right.
So Malcolm and one of his partners were looking at venues.
Yep.
They wanted to get into venues. I think it was after Malcolm exited the Court Hotel.
Yes. Yep.
And had
where I'm going tomorrow. Big party, Glitterbox. Can't wait for that one.
Hey. I got asked to look at the books, see if it was. So do a mini due diligence, so to speak. It looked okay on paper. Yeah. Had a look inside, was doing the numbers, and we understood that the previous that the seller was in a little bit of financial distress. So we got the bar for a bargain, and we renovated it, had a crack, and unfortunately Subi didn't quite support it. Like we advertised, we did everything we could, we did everything right in my eyes, and it just it didn't. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out too well.
Yeah. So, and you think, I mean, Subi, for those that don't live in WA, I mean, it was the
peak.
It was the pinnacle of entertainment in WA. That precinct, and for a number of years, it's been on the slide. And that was one of the questions that I actually had. I wanted to know. Big shout out to the door there.
We are in a basement. It's probably a ghost.
Exactly. But yeah, I was just wondering, what you thought about. Where you see Subi going? Like, do you think you sort of alluded to this just then, you feel like it's on a bit of an upturn now?
I feel like it's a bit of an upturn.
Yeah. Got new owners at the Subiaco Hotel.
Yes.
That just happened a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
The guys that have got the Rose down in Bunbury and
great
the
operators.
Exchange. Yeah.
So Rose, the Exchange, and a couple of bottle shops as well.
Kalgoorlie,
good operators.
Yep.
I'm interested to see how they go. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the market site is getting redeveloped. Look, let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, because it'd be great to see it get back to
absolutely
where it was.
There's some other strips that I'd like to see as well perform really well that used to absolutely crank in the heyday.
Yeah.
But there's a lot going on in our industry.
Yeah, because the city's taken so many people. It used to be a dead zone for a long time.
It used to be a dead zone for a very long time, and. With the increase in high density living and traffic, and as a city evolves, it does start to draw back people and back in, and that's happened. Northbridge has revived again and had a bit of a quiet time. Leaderville revived itself. It's good to see. Scarborough, geez,
that's going off.
That's insane at the moment.
Yeah.
And
you've got new players, you've got new owners of existing venues,
new bars, and that's kind of one of the reasons we moved to this country was that beautiful beach. So it's good to see
all the beautiful beaches.
All the beautiful beaches.
Yeah.
It is an island after all.
Yeah. Freo, of course, like Freo pumps, I've got some, that's my main stomping ground. But actually, sorry, to go back a bit, back to Voyeur. So when you mentioned Malcolm, for those of you that don't know, it's Malcolm Day. He's the founder of adultshop.com.au, which is exactly what it sounds like.
It sells the stuff for adults.
Fun stuff. And there was a guy called Keenan, and then there was Svenja Svetninko, a bit of a mouthful, that one. Now, the bar, I remember the bar, or my memory is the bar hadn't been open that long before Xenia's name was plastered all over the front pages for an alleged text message scam that was basically involving a shit ton of money. Then next thing you know, he's in a maximum security prison here, and he's fighting extradition to the States. So can you remember where you were when you first heard about these charges, and what were your first thoughts? Because it was pretty quick after you opened, wasn't it?
Pretty quick.
Like 3 weeks?
Literally, 2 weeks? I was buying a coffee,
and
I saw the front of the newspaper.
on the West Australian, Gold. And can you remember what it said?
I can't remember. I go, oh, I know that face. I was like, oh, wow. First thing I did was call to see what it was all about.
Yeah, right. Who'd you call?
The man himself.
Yeah, right.
Obviously, his phone was off the hook. So that day. Absolutely knew nothing about it. Still don't know much about it.
Yeah, right. Because I didn't grow up here. I've been here 9 years, but from what I've read about it, him and his wife were really larger than life, and very expensive sports cars, and all the charity balls and all that sort of stuff. So it was a bit of a high profile fall. Yeah.
Look, let's just see where it ends up. I don't know anything about it. That's all I can.
Just one of those things. Yeah. Anyway,
you never really know everything about everyone, and not everyone's perfect. So
I'm pretty stoked not everyone knows everything about me. Otherwise, I'd really be in the shit.
Look, it's I've cut corners in the past, and you do what you can, and every person is like a mosaic. There's dark colours, there's white colours, and it just depends on what the whole picture is. So, that's how I look at everybody. Everybody's got flaws, habits.
And it could have had you never know, it could have had a positive effect on the business, because what did he say? What was that? I've forgotten the line. Any publicity is good publicity. So possibly. Definitely got the venue in the papers.
It helped with the Rapture nightclub.
Yeah. What was
recently?
I haven't heard.
I'm paraphrasing.
Rapture, the one that was all over Facebook. Yeah,
I'm paraphrasing.
What a disaster.
So one of the
apparently
owners had a dig at a female that accused the venue of not acting responsibly for
drink spiking.
Spiking.
I remember
and he had a crack.
Yeah. So and it didn't end well for him.
Well, it didn't well end for him, but the venue was busy that weekend for people trying to see what it was about. I think there's people making T-shirts and stuff. I'm worth it.
That's cool. So again, for those of you that haven't heard about it, basically he said about the girl that she wasn't worth spiking a drink over. So
how many security guards would you like? Would you like 10 guards to look after your drink? Are you even worth your drink being spiked?
Yeah.
And then obviously that exploded.
That went mental. When I first saw it on Facebook, I thought it was someone from the WA bartenders group where we're just having a laugh and actually putting it all together. And then I was like, this shit's real. Wow, like what?
And then
crazy.
And he backed it up.
Yeah, he just kept plugging away.
Backed it up. I think on a news interview, he goes, "Oh yeah," and I'm paraphrasing at the moment. He goes, "Oh yeah, she's a bit overweight, not that attractive." I'm like, wow.
Oh wow.
Wow. Wow. He really is just going for gold.
I wonder how they're doing. So that was about a month ago. I wonder how they are doing now. But
I have no idea. I think as a sales representative, I may have walked past there once.
Well, to be honest, I'd never even heard of the joint, until it went off. Now I definitely have. So if you want to check that one out, guys, it's Rapture Nightclub, and it's all over the place.
Maybe.
Yeah, just watch your drinks when you're doing it. Now, last question on Foyer. Towards the end of its life, the club experienced not one but 2 arson attacks in the same week.
Correct.
I just can't believe how pissed off people get when they get knocked back.
Well, you stop serving someone alcohol because they're too pissed. They generally throw out a few threats here and there, but
RSA on your flaming Lamborghinis.
That's right. How dare you not serve me? Do you know I am?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was in Singapore at the time, so
so how did you hear about that? I get a phone call.
I got a phone call.
Yeah,
Ricky, do you know what's going on? And I was like,
it wasn't me. I'm in Singapore.
Well, no. My first reaction was not to jump on the defense, but
you're like, I'm not Jewish, and there is no fire sale happening.
Interesting.
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, look.
I was going to say it's just one of those things, but it was actually just 2 of those things because it happened twice.
So it was malicious. I believe I did.
It wasn't an accident, then you mean?
We all got questioned about it, of course. And they have got someone charged.
Yeah, right.
Which is good.
Yeah.
And it's good to see. But it did end, unfortunately, Voya's life prematurely. Had it continued, it would have now sort of come into the resurgence of Subiaco.
Yeah.
However, it did happen, and it's happened to a few venues.
Yeah.
Some old venues, electrical wiring and bits and pieces. So.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Exactly. But someone's in trouble for it now. So now, then we've done a whole new switch again. So you're out of venues by this stage. Yeah. So we're talking 2017 maybe? Yeah,
2017, 18. So I did do a little bit of a crossover there when I had Lost Society. And started alcohol distribution. So
and you've had a number, there's a number of things you've got going on there. So you kicked off with Latitude 34
correct
as the state sales manager.
Correct.
How did you get into that? Do you know the guys down there?
Yeah. So Craig Sweet is the general manager of the sales manager for Latitude 34, which is a wine company. They've got wineries. vineyards and wineries all around the state.
Yeah. Sort of WA-based company.
WA-based company, family-owned.
Swan Valley and Margaret River?
No, actually not up in the Swan. But, Margaret River, Blackwood Valley, they had some Pemberton blocks at the same time. And, look, they had a new CEO. So one of the sons took over the business and was really growing the retail side.
Sure.
Craig and I used to work together. He used to work for Jose Cuervo, Kraken. So he's one of the reasons those brands are so massive here in WA and Australia. Like he's got some serious sort of distribution, sales knowledge. He's a go-getter. When he sees something he wants, he gets it. And he contacted me out of the blue.
Sounds like a guy I should get on the podcast.
But you better schedule everything out though.
Yeah, right. He's a bit of a stickler for detail, is he?
Stickler for detail.
Right, yeah.
Oh, God bless him. Yeah. And he dragged me along, had a crack. It was quite a nice sea change for me. Wake up early, get on the road, sell wine.
Yeah. And it's to bottle shops, yeah?
Bottle shops,
strictly
bars,
retail.
restaurants.
Oh, right, so that as well.
Different change. As I get older, obviously coming from nightclubs, there's pretty much tequila and vodka and Red Bull vodkas all the way. And then into beer with the live entertainment scene, and wine was something I neglected. Didn't come into contact with.
It's not huge in clubs, is it?
No. Usually it's like you got to dust off the bottle. If somebody asks,
where do we keep the wine again?
Ask for wine. It's 1 a.m. love, and we. I learnt a lot. I had to go from zero to hero in a short amount of time. I've had no official training in wine, but it is true. The more you try and the more you learn and the more things.
That's why I do it to the extent that I do. I'm always learning.
Practice makes perfect.
Absolutely.
Every day.
And you still there now, or?
Yeah, still doing it now. So that actually spawned a bigger distribution company. Okay. So we started a new business. It was part of a network anyway to start called Wine Fix, which had we spruiked and sold some wines from over east and New Zealand.
So the Wine Fix is Australia wine plus New Zealand.
Wine plus New Zealand.
And where are they based?
Based in Melbourne.
Right, yeah.
Based in Melbourne. So we were part of that network as well. Mm-hmm. So we were selling their wines, they were selling our wines. Worked really well. Sure. So off the backbone of that, we wanted a bit more. Yeah. Wanted to expand the business. You always found, or I found in trade, Ricky, wine, but do you know the best X or the best Y, or who's the rep for this, and we kind of are working towards almost a full stop, one-stop shop.
Yeah.
That would be nice. Mm-hmm. Being a venue owner before, it's nice to just kind of call one person or have a reliable person you can call, even if it's not their specialty. So we started this model, and we've poached a few brands and some big brands and stuff like that. And we do beer, cider, spirits, bitters, tonics, sodas, waters,
and wine.
How could I forget?
And so is that the Bevco?
The Bevco, yeah.
Right.
So kept it pretty generic in its name, like ABC Plumbers.
Cool.
Easy to Google, real simple to remember, and it's going really well. So some of the brands we picked up are awesome. Mm-hmm. They fit our model. So crafty, cool, great stories behind them. Most of our brands, I think 95% of our brands are family owned.
Great.
They're in it every day. They live and breathe it.
Just Australian and New Zealand, or are they from overseas as well now?
We've got Australia, New Zealand predominantly. We've got a couple of brands from France and the States as well. Cool. And obviously we've got an Australian tequila brand as well, but tequila has to be made in Tequila, Mexico in order for it to be tequila. So yes, predominantly Australian, 95% Australian, and New Zealand brands. So
what do you think the trends are in that game?
It's
people drinking more of this and less of that, or what's?
It's incredible. Out in the market at the moment, there's our market the Australian market.
Sure.
We are seeing some very clever people like myself, that have moved from venues into distilleries and stuff like that, and into breweries, are really cool, creating awesome products to suit our market. And Australian produce, spirits, wine are creeping into bars and restaurants like immensely. Typical gin and tonic drinker is moving away from the old English ones to Australian ones.
Brilliant,
supporting local, which is fantastic for Australia's hospitality industry. It's incredible, and it's growing year on year on year, which is fantastic. And exports are increasing of our product, because we've got some really serious, well-educated. They've been to university, they've worked in hospitality, they know what the market wants, so they've got the science behind it, they've got the expertise behind it, they've got the gut, most important, the gut behind making a great product. And they're just going for gold, and there's so many of them now. It's incredible. It's really cool.
I just think that's a really important point that you make. Guys, when you're out there in venues and when you're in bottle shops, ask about the Aussie brands.
Aussie brands all the way. And it's not. It's not reverse racism where we're going to support local because you have to.
Support it because it's great.
Support it because it's actually good. It's delicious.
The way we do food around the world is world renowned. But we've got the Gourmet Escape coming up. In this month actually.
Next week.
And that's Swan Valley, it's Perth, and it's Margaret River this time for the first time.
It's growing year on year as well. So.
And people come from all over the world for that. So we've got some fantastic offerings here in WA and here in Australia in general,
very, very happy and really cool to be part of that. Like, really awesome to be part of that.
Have you got any favourites at the moment?
A couple of favourites.
Or is it a bit like your favourite kids?
It's like your favourite kid. Yeah, you're asking me my favourite kid. We are going into summer, so gin is our focus at the moment, and it is really good.
It's really kicked off too, gin as well, isn't it?
Just gins and spritzers this summer is just going to be insane. We've created a whole bunch of vegan and organic wines, which is on trend at the moment. So organic vegan wines are in trend, which is fantastic. All different styles and varieties. So there's some old styles coming back. Who knew Semillon would come back in WA, but it is. Ciders coming into a big way as well, but we're on the cusp of summer. So, favourites, all of them.
All of them.
all
That's
of my,
like me.
All of my kids.
Yeah, love them all. Love them all. Now, you've been in the Perth hospital scene now for what, 15 years? I'm guessing,
thereabouts.
So, what sort of changes have you noticed in this time from way back then to today? And what are your thoughts on where the scene is at the moment here in Perth?
I think the scene's in a very good position at the moment. A lot's changed. A lot's changed back then. There was no mobile phones. There was no ID scanners. When I first started, you could smoke in venues, and there were fewer venues and stuff like that. So
a lot fewer
venues. So you pretty much were going on top of each other, and it was interesting. It was always like the big barns used to do really well back then. It was safer for going out. Where are my mates going to be? There was no apps for dating and stuff like that back then as well. The internet was quite young, so the mobile phones weren't as developed. So you kind of went where you knew everyone was going to be. And that was it was a big numbers thing. And
you went to catch up.
You went to your local for convenience. The internet, mobile phones, cameras sort of changed that a little bit. People were finding these small little nooks in the wall because their mates were going to it, and then the market kind of spread out a little bit, which is kind of cool. It gave the small operator who just wanted a little hole in the wall bar the opportunity to engage with a customer base that was a lot larger than just his neighbours and stuff like that.
Sure.
And from a product perspective, we have amazing products. Obviously, I've mentioned the Australian products that have come through, but also the choice is amazing. So it really allows venues to adapt and change their offering to be quite specific, because there's so much more you can do.
Yeah, sure.
You can't physically do everything, so you pick something that suits your style and you kind of run with it, which is great from our perspective, because if you want this, you go here, and if you want that, you go there.
And when you go to these places, like I mentioned before, we went over backwards there. Like ask the staff, they're the experts in these drink items, so ask them their opinion.
They get to speak to sales reps all the time. They get to engage with acts all the time. We've built bigger stadiums. We can house bigger acts. We've got more international touring acts than ever before coming through. We've got the arena now. Back then it didn't exist.
Yep.
We've got Optus Stadium, which didn't exist. We had the Beverage Dome and other bits and pieces to make do at the time. But which, for
those of you that aren't from Perth, was like an inflatable stadium.
Yeah, it was. It was a structure that was pressurized to keep it up.
Yep.
Which is really cool.
Actually,
quite a feat of engineering. So. It's changed immensely, and it's always changing. It's almost month by month now.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's cool.
Yeah, cool.
Good fun. Forever evolving.
Yeah, nice one. We're almost at the wrapping it up stage. But before we go, I was just wondering if there's anything that we haven't covered so far that you wanted to get out there, or you think you've ticked all the boxes?
I think I've ticked all the boxes. I mean, you're running the interview.
Yes, I am. But, well, there might have been something that, like in the back of your head, you're like, I hope he asked me this.
I have to save things for our future interviews.
Yeah, of course. Ricky Part 2.
I can't tell you the whole story.
Gold.
Happy.
No, that's sweet.
Really,
okay.
Really super happy.
Now, as you may or may not know, I like to finish every chat with your favourite party story of all time that you're happy to chat about on the show.
Okay, so obviously being in the industry, I've had a lot of parties.
I bet you have.
A lot of parties. So let's go. I'm actually going to tell you the first one.
Right. Okay. Way back.
Back in high school, it was the week before Leavers or something like that. We were quite close to Churchlands, our house. Thought I'd invite a few people over for some drinks. I had my DJ equipment at the time as well. Had a bucket of Carlton Colds at the time.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if people sell that anymore. So parents left for the evening.
They knew you were having a party?
Yeah, they knew I was having a party. Yeah. Thanks, Mum and Dad. See you later. Bye. A few friends came over.
Yeah.
Ended up being the whole year.
Yeah, right.
The whole year, our whole year rocked up. There's people everywhere. There's lanterns and tables and chairs going everywhere. One toilet house. It was great.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Great. Cops were called. It was just manic. Absolutely.
Right.
No one got hurt, which was fantastic. So maybe that spawned my love for the industry as well. No one got hurt.
Yeah.
It was a great time. I think I made out with a girl from school. I can't remember.
Yeah. And your parents, so they come home.
They come home to this. Cops had left. Turned down the music. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. We had big speakers out the back.
How awesome are your parents? Like just to give you till 1 o'clock in the morning.
This was the first and last.
Right. Okay. Never again.
They came back at like 1, and the next day was just. It was a pretty big property, just littered with so much. And there was a park across the road. I had to go across into the park and clean up all the bottles. And wow, it was messy. Did
they find out about the cops coming over?
Yeah, the neighbour told them.
Yeah, right. There's always one of those neighbours around.
It was probably the same one that called them.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But yeah, it was super cool. Like it was a great way to start my party throwing career.
Yeah, right. Well, what I used to do with my sister. So when we first got to Australia, we would want to make friends and all the rest of it. We want to have a party, but maybe what's a good way to do that? School holidays were coming up, so what we did was my parents parents would leave for work at like 8 every morning or whatever, and so we invited everyone to come over at night and just party all day, and then at 4 o'clock you get everyone to clean up, and my parents, and then you leave the house because you're shit faced, like 16 or whatever, and then your parents come home at 6 o'clock or whatever, and you roll in about 7:38, and it's all good. School holidays. So that's a good tip for all you kids out there.
There you go.
But there was
his example, not mine.
Yeah, exactly. But then all of a sudden it's like they find like one stubby like in the garden in some weird place, and they're like, what's happening here? But I remember in the morning, because I wanted to have a pool party, but it's the middle of July or June in Melbourne, not that warm,
Warm, no.
So I turned on the gas heater in the pool. I turned on the gas heater in the pool like 3 days before, and I've got the thing on it, the mat, and as my dad, like, on that morning, I'm standing chatting to him, and he's kind of like, we're sort of side on to the window, and out the corner of my eye I can see all this tons of steam coming up, because it's like 4 degrees or something, I don't know how cold it was, but it was bloody cold, and I'm sort of angling to try and move away so he's not going to see that, and then in the end they left, and we had a full-on pool party in the middle of winter. So there you go. Anyway, enough about me. It's the end of the show. Thank you so much
thank you for having me,
coming down to the Aardvark. Big shout out to Drew from the Norfolk and the Aardvark.
Thank you very much for having us, Drew, and nice to meet you all, and look forward to hearing more.
Nice one. Thanks, mate.
Cheers. Thank you.
All the best.
Cheers.